You're watching the AI Report. Exciting AI news today. Great stuff at the end of the video, so stick around and let's get into it. An interesting report from the nice people over at McKinsey stating that by 2030 we might see 12 million job switches and 30% of the work hours automated. The report says that surprisingly, the number of jobs lost might not be that high actually. It's just that employees will kind of become more productive. Of course, some jobs will disappear, but there might be a bit more new jobs than anticipated, including about 3.5 million new jobs in healthcare, interesting, and also an increase of 23% in demand for STEM employees. Demand for administrative jobs like office support and customer service will decline by 18 and 13% respectively. Okay, that even sounds like a net win overall. A survey by Morning Consult Pro, on the other hand, of over 1,000 adults in Europe finds that most of them don't think society is ready for AI. Spread of misinformation, child protection, personal data privacy, and regulation are their top concerns. Obviously, these people are not subscribed to this channel. If you're also not subscribed, don't make the same mistake as these people. But seriously, most of these concerns are valid. I'm not exactly sure myself how much is society prepared for AI. My bet is that most people still aren't aware of what's going on or even what's the big deal here. Yeah, education on these topics should happen on a larger scale. Next, we have a new young self-made billionaire of whom I'm definitely not jealous at all. Who, me? Jealous of a young self-made entrepreneur that has made billions before 30? Please. Alexander Wang co-founded Scale AI when he was just 19, an AI company providing crucial data to autonomous vehicle companies, later expanding into enterprise automation, e-commerce, insurance, and robotics. He became a billionaire at 24. The article suggests he's the youngest self-made billionaire. I think Zuck also became a billy at 24, but maybe Wang did it a few months earlier. Anyway, Alexander Wang, congrats on your success. I'm definitely not jealous at all. If you're watching this by some miracle, DM me, I have some business opportunities for you. Next, senior FBI officials state that China and other countries are stealing AI technology and data from the US. Yeah, I don't think anyone is surprised here, Sherlock. They predict that China will try out their new AI toys to spread misinformation in the 2024 presidential elections in the US. Oh boy, that's gonna be a fun election, no doubt about it. Moving on, Microsoft might be in trouble if they don't get those AI chips fast enough. Their biggest bet here is cloud-based AI infrastructure, and they may need NVIDIA to deliver as many AI chips as possible, otherwise there may be service disruptions. NVIDIA is looking red hot right now, market cap of $1.15 trillion. Nice. Okay, next we have the wet dream of a young broad that Googles phrases like how to make money online fast, and fast is all caps. So blockchain and AI will meet. Hyundai and Kia are about to partner up in building the supplier CO2 emission monitoring system. The data about CO2 emissions will be stored on a blockchain, making it transparent and immutable, and it will make use of AI to project future emissions. Okay, based on my 2 minutes of thinking about this project, I'm not sure this needs to be on the blockchain. It's good if the data is public, but I don't see why it should be stored on a distributed database, which is what the blockchain is essentially. Anyway, I'm a simple man. Whenever I hear blockchain and AI in the same sentence, my mouth just salivates for some reason. So yeah, Hyundai and Kia, good luck to you. Next, a miracle AI surgery enables a paralyzed man to walk and feel again. In 2018, Keith Thomas from New York was paralyzed from the chest down because of a diving accident. In 2021, he agreed to join a program that might help regain his movement. The machine learning-based surgery connected a computer to his brain through microelectrode implants. So essentially, his brain, body, and spinal cord are electronically linked together. Wow. The surgery lasted 15 hours and Keith had to be awake for parts of it. It's quite a long road to get to this point, Thomas said, adding that he can now move his right arm to his face and the next goal is to brush his own teeth. I was crying like crazy, he adds. This is a pioneering case for AI surgeries. It will not be the last. Many paralyzed people might walk again, and it may be used to treat or cure other impassable illnesses like blindness, deafness, ALS, seizures, cerebral palsy, and Parkinson's. Wow. Wow. What a time to be alive. And finally, Robotic Transformer 2, RT2, is a robotics model by Google that translates vision and language into action. It's trained on vision language models, enabling it to recognize a lot of real-world objects, but also language patterns as well. For example, if there's a bunch of toys on the table, one of which is the dinosaur, and you instruct the robot to pick up the extinct animal, it will pick up the dinosaur. It's that smart. The robot can learn to perform a lot of different tasks, including complex ones. Okay, the ramifications of this are obviously insane, but I have to share a story with you. Bear with me for a minute, I promise it's gonna make sense. When I was growing up, there was this quiet kid in our neighborhood. He was always kind of withdrawn, kind of shy. He was kind of small and skinny and frail, so he always avoided conflict. Never really did much or said much. He was just hanging around in our little friend group. He was so quiet that it was kind of weird, but he didn't bother anyone, so he was just there. One time, on a warm summer night, we were like 12 or something. After exhausting all of the cute girls in our environment we could bother, we had nothing better to do than have one of those seemingly deep philosophical conversations that the young teenagers have that sound so smart when you're a kid, but years later, if you remember what everyone said, you will feel the biggest cringe you've ever felt. Like, did I really say that? Kill me. So we were talking about our biggest goals in life or something lame like that. And as you might expect, most of the responses involved sports cars, Coke fountains, Air Jordans, and being wildly rich quasi-bajillionaires or something like that. And then it was the quiet kid's turn. After like 6 months of him not saying a word and me forgetting how his voice sounded, we asked him like, okay, what's your goal? And I kid you not, with a dead serious, intensely determined look on his face, he said, I will build an army of robots that will obey my commands and take over the world. Of course, we didn't take much of it. Those were different times. We still didn't even know what a school shooter is. Everyone was just kind of dismissing him like, yeah, okay, buddy, good one. And he continued to not say another word for another year maybe, and we just went on with our lives. After a while, he just stopped coming. I just never saw him again for a long period of time. Ever since this AI revolution started, I occasionally think about him and what he said that night. For some reason, 20 years later, I'm actually a bit uneasy about that statement. Now, to put everyone's mind at rest, I saw this dude like 2 days ago on the street when I was visiting my parents in the old neighborhood. He's fine, he's living his life, I guess. We just said hi across the street, but it didn't get the impression that he was building a robot army to dominate the world. But the troubling part is that now, if he is determined enough on his childhood dreams, or even worse, the quieter, more socially isolated Generation Alpha version of him is determined enough, they have the means to pull it off. Some of these developments in AI might be scary on their own, but the scariest part will always be what quiet little humans plan to do with that AI. And that's the way it is. If you're a quiet little human hell-bent on conquering the world with a robot army, then I guess like and subscribe so that you can learn more about how to use AI to further your twisted dark goals. And when you take over, remember who was always on your side and never bullied you, even though he totally could have if he wanted to. The rest of you, like and subscribe as well. Be nice to the quiet kid because his army of robots may destroy you one day, and I will see you tomorrow. Cerebral palsy